Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Emergency Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Jim Rosati. Long time no see.
Yeah, busy day for me. Starbucks, I was on ESPN radio in Louisiana talking about Paul Skeens earlier. Somehow they thought I would be a good guy to talk to them about Paul Skeens, but
I don't know why.
yeah,
But I guess
crazy people
word doesn't
down there.
word doesn't travel far about how terrible you are.
No, that must just be a very localized thing.
Right. But I mean, I see you all in the black and gold. Obviously, you've been a busy bee today.
Yeah, I think this is what I was wearing this morning, so I haven't changed.
I haven't either. And then, so we did Starbucks today, talking a little bit about this trade deadline and such, obviously. And then there's a game tonight, which are you going to be doing the post game then on that for sure?
Yep.
So yeah, three
So-
shows on North Shore 9 today for you, plus a radio hit for you. But yeah, like we have an emergency podcast here now. We have a Pittsburgh Pirate trade that happened, Jim. It happened.
Yeah, hey, we were clamoring for something, right? And we got something. Not necessarily what I think we were hoping for. Definitely some, an out of the box acquisition. But yeah, the Pirates acquired 22-year-old former first round pick, 2020 17th overall pick, Nick Yorke. He's a second baseman. They get him from the Boston Red Sox in exchange for 23-year-old former first round pick Quinn Priester. So yeah, I think I wonder how much Nick Gonzalez's injury had to do with this, but also by all accounts, it sounds like Nick Yorke was someone that the Pirates have kind of keyed in on and have been trying to acquire for a while now. There's something about him that they like, and there is reasons to like Nick Yorke. The hitting that he's shown at really every step of the minors, especially now that he's kind of he got promoted to AAA this year, and he's been hitting really well since then. Really good hit tool. Not the best defender, not the fastest guy, but he's a second baseman. He can play a little bit of outfield too if you need him to. And yeah, there's a lot to like about Yorke, in particular from his, there's a comment right here, like his baseball savant data. Like he hits the ball hard for a 22-year-old who's hitting the ball as hard as he is. He's kind of found a little bit of a power stroke too. 6 homers in 38 games in AAA since being promoted. So yeah, I've always liked Nick Yorke kind of ever since he burst onto the scene back in 2021, the year after his draft pick, after being drafted out of high school. Hit really well through the lower levels, kind of stifled a little bit in AA, but seems to have found that magic back again. And yeah, the dude can hit.
Right. For sure. And one thing, so of course, before we go any further, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on the game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit. First deposit up to $250. BetOnline, the game. So this was interesting. Jeff Passan drops the bomb. Pittsburgh Pirates made a trade. Whoa. What happened? And you look into it a little further, and Quinn Priester, I'll say this, wasn't the guy I was expecting to see of the starting pitchers to be traded this year. I think we talked a little bit, and I said, for this year, maybe next year, potentially, I think he was drifting maybe further away from their future plans. But for this season, I thought Marco Gonzalez makes sense. Martin Perez makes sense. But Quinn Priester, I felt like you're probably hanging on to him right now. So I was kind of taken back that it was Quinn. And then you see the bat that was in return because it was a bat. And I was like, well, this guy's not a major leaguer. This is a prospect, but he's close. Yes, he's dubbed a prospect, but he's right on the cusp. He has 38 games in AAA. Like you talked about, the hit tool. From everything I've been looking into him and reading on, and jokingly, we talk enough about the strat league that we're both in. Yorke was a guy I tried getting 2 years ago as well. So I myself, much like the Pirates, have been eyeing Nick Yorke for some time, Jim. So, Ben Cherington and myself, same wavelength. But with that said, it seems as if like you said, like the hit tool was there. He was hitting well, then he scuffed a little bit. And it seemed as almost like he was doing a lot of adjusting, a lot of adjustments, tweaking his swing, tweaking a lot of stuff, finding his stroke finally. Because like you look at his AA numbers as well, he was like an average hitter. But when he got called up to AAA these past 38 games, I mean, he's been hitting the ball very well. And the one thing you see about him also they're talking about is not only that he does hit the ball well, but he also is adding a little bit more loft to it right now, currently, with some of the adjustments that he has made. So, when you look at him, he's not the super athletic guy. He is a middle infielder. It seems as if like the bat's what's going to play with him. Almost like I want to stamp it almost like an in-betweener of like a Nick Gonzalez, Adam Frazier type, if that makes sense. I don't know that's how you feel. More pop than Frazier, for sure. But like maybe a 270, 280 guy that has like 15 home runs.
That's probably like a ceiling, I would think. Yeah, I think if you're looking for, he's sort of in like that Nick Gonzalez mold, but his hit tool developed a lot better than Nick Gonzalez's, right? Gonzalez has the swing and miss stuff. Yorke doesn't have that. Yorke's a patient hitter. He's going to get on base. He's going to draw some walks. He's going to swing at pitches in the strike zone. And the thing with Yorke is when he swings, he makes contact. So there's a lot of differences there. Like I said, the hit tool for Yorke has developed quite nicely. Again, it's AAA, so like we need to see him do it against major league pitching, but he's hit throughout the minors, and I said the batted ball data in AAA is nice to see. At the exit velocities are where you want it to be. And yeah, he's definitely lifting the ball more now. Since moving to AAA, he's getting on base. He's not striking out. I'm curious on, what the Pirates' plan is here on like how much time do they need to decide like if this guy's major league ready? Because with Gonzalez being out, they could use a second baseman right now. Like they could use somebody right now, and they could use somebody like Nick Yorke right now. But they're probably going to let him play in AAA a little bit. He's only played 38 games. This isn't a move that was made to really help the major league team right now. It sounds like, but they dealt from a place of strength, which was their starting pitching rotation, their starting pitching depth. Quinn Priester didn't really have much of a role on this team anymore. He wasn't having a ton of success. His fastball isn't all that sexy. Doesn't get swing and miss stuff. He doesn't strike people out. He gets his lumps. I think we were probably starting to look at Quinn Priester as this guy's probably a reliever. Probably turning into a reliever. So it's a fresh start for Quinn Priester. I don't know what the future would have held for him here. And you're bringing in a guy who fits a need. Like I know people say like the Pirates, they keep acquiring middle infielders. But guess what? Like none of them have hit. So like until you find someone that's hit, you got to keep getting them, right? And Yorke's the next guy they're going to try. And out of all of these guys that they've acquired, like your Alika Williams, your Tucupita Marcanos, these middle infielders, Nick Yorke has the best bat out of all of those guys. So now it's just a matter of, can he do it at the major league level? And how soon can he do it?
Right. And so like, that's the thing that's also it makes me curious because when I saw it and you saw how close he is, and he's been in AAA, he's been in AA the end of last season and the start of this year. If they were in on this guy for some time, they made the trade for him today. I was kind of maybe expecting he's going too far, but I kind of felt like, hey, you know what? He's going to make his debut now for the Pittsburgh Pirates because there's an absolute need for him. And, with him being this close, and that's why I say, like, he's a prospect. Technically is, like, he's never made the majors, but, like, I could see this guy stepping foot and being in the majors right away or, at some point this year. And it does seem as if they've announced that he's going to go to AAA still. So I was a little curious on that because I felt like maybe this was one of those things where this is a guy we wanted. Let's pull the trigger because of Nick Gonzalez. Like, this is a need for today and for the future, but it doesn't seem as if they're playing it that way. So it also makes me wonder, like, what's next, if anything? The way I look at this trade and going back to Quinn Priester, like you said, I mean, you have so much depth. Like, he is expendable. Again, didn't see it happening this year, but it does. But it's one of those trades where it's like, when I look at this in a vacuum, Jim, much like this offseason, when you trade Quinn Priester for this guy, I don't hate the trade at all. You dealt from a place of strength and you added a guy that you need. I don't hate the trade. I don't look at this and say the Boston Red Sox fleeced the Pirates. I also don't think that the Pirates were fleeced by the Red Sox. Both got things that they needed. When I look at this trade, though, like, the issue with it is this doesn't help. The Pirates, as we talked today on Starbucks, are going into probably the most crucial stretch in this season they will face point blank at any point of time. They have the Astros. They have the Padres. They have the Diamondbacks. They have the Padres. They have the Dodgers. They have the Mariners, right? I think you talked about them. They have the Reds. They have the Cubs. Like, this upcoming month is crucial. They need to upgrade the major league roster, and that was not accomplished, especially since they announced he's not being part of the major league roster. You could try to talk me into it and say, well, you know what? We believe in a bat. Nick Gonzalez is injured. We're going to call him up, and he's going to at least take that spot, and then you go and acquire some outfielders, whatever might be left, right, from now until, 24 hours from now. Then you could try to talk me into this in that sense. And again, like, I don't hate the trade for the trade, but this doesn't help 2024. I am not comfortable going into tonight's game. Granted, he wouldn't be in the roster tonight anyways, but going into tonight's game thinking, you know what? Reinforcements are coming. I feel good. Going into tonight's game, I'm still nervous as hell for this upcoming series and beyond because this team has gotten worse over the weekend, and so far, they're worse.
Well put. I mean, I like this trade a lot from just a pure baseball trade standpoint.
Right.
I didn't think Quinn Priester was going to do much. Like, I think I'd kind of seen enough of him, right? He's a pitcher who has an ERA over 5, and he can't go through a lineup more than once. Like, that's what we've seen from him. The fastball's bad. We've been told over and over again, and we've seen it. Like, he's not who we hoped he would become. Maybe he figures it out in Boston. Best of luck to Quinn. I always liked him. I just don't really think he's that good. So you trade Quinn Priester. You get a guy who has a tool that you covet, which is hitting. This team doesn't have people who can hit, and they don't have anybody on the horizon who can hit either. Like that, there's no one in AAA right now outside Henry Davis who's like hitting the ball well. No one, right? So it adds a little bit of organizational depth. I mean, Yorke will probably slot into the Pirates' top 15 prospects somewhere in that area. But yeah, like you mentioned, this isn't like your prototypical trade deadline deal that a contender makes. Like this deal isn't to, all right, let's make this deal. It's going to help us make the playoffs. It's not what this is. This is a deal that you're hoping
that this is a deal that you're last year.
This is a deal that you're hoping improves your team down the road, right? And if you get something out of Yorke this year, cool. But yeah, I mean, he's in AAA, so like he's not helping this team right now. So,
Right.
with that being said, the Pirates better do something else. Like this can't be their big trade of the deadline. Because if it is, the season isn't going to end well, most likely. Like they've got to do something to make the major league team better. And again, this trade, I like it. I like it a lot from a baseball standpoint. But yeah, they need to do something to help the major league team. And hopefully they do. They've got 24 hours to do it. With names coming off the board.
23 and 41 minutes, technically speaking.
Yep.
And as we talk today, they'll take all 23 and 41.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at with this. I'm right with you. This isn't a bad trade. Trade works out fine. And again, like I like Yorke as well. I think he's a good fit for this team. And it's a team that needs offense, and it's a team that's looking for the future as well. But this team also needs immediate help. And you know why? Because the guy taking the mound today is here for very finite time. And he's here now. And his opportunity to shut down the Astros and potentially get yourself into, one game back into the wild card. Right? They're 2 right now, right?
2 games out.
2, yeah. So potentially, 1.5 or 2 or 1 game into the wild card again. Like you have an opportunity ahead of you. You have to capitalize. This lineup fails to capitalize, and it's like this front office seems to fail to capitalize. They didn't capitalize this offseason. Here we are today, and yeah, this trade was a good trade, but it's not capitalizing on what you have at hand. So 24 hours, Ben, you're on the clock. And to the people that are commenting, and I haven't kept too much track. I know there's 24 hours. I understand there's 24 hours. The problem is with each hour that passes, another guys get taken off the board. Tommy Pham is now a St. Louis Cardinal. The St. Louis Cardinals have gotten better today. They added a really good starter in Fetty, and they added Tommy Pham in their outfield, which would have been a good fit for the Pirates as a center fielder possibility. The more those get taken away, not only less and less options you have, the less and less talent you have. Your upgrades aren't as exponential. Tommy Pham isn't that much of a needle mover to begin with either, but he is an improvement. Now, are you looking at Pilar? I mean, that's essentially what Michael A. Taylor is today. It's almost like a sidestep. You can add him because he's a center fielder, but are you that much confident from today's date to the end of the season that he is going to be that much more of an improvement from Michael A. Taylor? I don't know. So you might add him, but like that to me, that's just an add to add. That doesn't do much. So that's why you're feeling a little more pressure. You're getting more vocal about this. Every hour that passes is one less person that's available to you. And that person that was taken was probably a little bit better than the next one that's available to you now.
Yep. Yeah, I mean they've got to add somebody that you would have liked to have seen them do something a lot earlier. We hit on this morning on Starbucks. Like,
that's me. You hear that?
Like, what in the world?
They're arresting Ben Cherington as we speak.
Come arrest Ben Cherington. No, I think like they've got to do something, and they should have done something a while ago, because the deadline isn't until tomorrow at 6 p.m. But a lot of these names that the Pirates should have been targeting are gone. There's a few good options, and hopefully Ben's figuring something out. I don't have a lot of faith in Ben Cherington, if you haven't figured that out after 5 years of listening to me. But he's got 23 and a half hours to go find some bats to help this team. And again, preferably this would have all been done by now, but here we are. We're still waiting. We still need to get better. And the names are dwindling every hour. Like you said, there seems to be 1 or 2 less people on the board that can help this team.
Very much so. I do want to point something out here. This is for you, Wireless. So my point about about PR?
Pilar, yeah.
Pilar. So since June 1st, he has an 82 weighted runs created plus. Since June 1st, he's batting 233, 296. So I know like 126 OPS plus on the season, right? A lot of that came when he got over to the Angels, he was crushing the ball early on. A lot of that's right then and there. So like it's not been good of recent. And that's what we got since June 1st, 82 weighted runs created plus. Michael A. Taylor since June 1st, 69. Is it an upgrade? Yeah, but they're both pretty below average at this point in time. So that's what I'm alluding to. Again, is he an upgrade? Maybe, but maybe just barely an upgrade. Just keep Michael A. Taylor. Just keep Michael A. Taylor at this point in time.
Yep.
So again, like that's kind of where I'm at with this. But yeah, I guess to wrap this up, back to the trade. It's a good trade. I don't hate it. This offense got deeper today. It got better as an organizational aspect. The offense for the major league team didn't do anything, and it left the weekend worse. So here we still stand, waiting to see what's going to happen if there are playoffs in the future.
One thing I want to put, and I'm not trying to sell people on Nick Yorke, but again, the hit tool is the calling card. His average exit velocity in AAA right now would be second on the Pirates behind O'Neal Cruz and O'Neal Cruz only. So when I'm saying like this guy hits the ball hard, he can spray the ball gap to gap. If he's getting some more launch on his balls, he could end up developing some more power that wasn't really expected. But the guy's a hitter, and he's got a knack for getting on base because of how patient he is, and his contact skills allow him to hit the balls that are in the zone. So again, good exit velos, not quite MLB ready probably. If it were me, like if it were up to me and I was the general manager of the Pirates, he would be in Houston. Like he would be boarding a plane for Houston right now, because I think he's better than the other options there to play second base with Gonzalez out. But it seems like that's not going to be the case. And hopefully that means that there's another person coming in who has played Major League Baseball and has played down a stretch run before. Because otherwise, like I would rather have Nick Yorke on the team than Ji-Hwan Bae, right? Someone like that.
You are at a point where you're riding with Ji-Hwan Bae and Alika Williams. That's
I forgot Alika Williams is here. Yeah, Nick Yorke needs to be on this team over Alika Williams.
Right. And again, if that were the case, you could start selling me on this trade. This is for today. Trust me, bro. He's going to be good. All right, let's see it. But you're not even allowing us to see it. So therefore, it's not helping us right now. All right. Anything else that you want to add?
No, I'm doing one last little glance over to see if we missed any trades while we were on, and
fair.
It doesn't seem like it, but if there's another trade, hey, we'll hop on here and we'll dissect it.
There you have it. All right. Well then, a few hours, Paul Skeens will be on the mound pitching in Houston. So happy Paul Skeens Day, everybody. Hopefully there's a W coming.
See you guys.
We're out of here. Bye-bye.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.